Welcome to the Rapid Change Matters Rapid Fire Question Round. 2 minutes to expose the attitudes, beliefs, recommendations and perspectives of all things change work. My name's Howard Cooper and I'm joined today with, give us your name and what you do.
I'm James Tsakalos. I'm an NLP trainer from Melbourne, Australia.
Thank you, James. Your time starts now. What's the worst advice currently being given out within the world of change work?
I honestly couldn't even tell you.
If you had to reread one book about change work 100 times, what book would it be?
Well, I don't know if it qualifies as being about change work, but it's certainly self-change stuff. It would be Turtles All the Way Down by John Grinder and Judith Delosier.
If you could have a personal one-on-one session with any therapist or change worker, past or present, who would it be?
It would be a guy called Gabriel Guerrero from Mexico. I'm very interested in his brain. I'd love to see how he works.
Can you think of a concept or an idea that you used to believe was true, but have subsequently changed your mind about?
Are you shitting me? I've changed my mind 20 times today. I think it's very important for people to be able to change their minds. I'm a big fan of what Robert Anton Wilson described as maybe logic, and not committing to certainty about things, but having the flexibility to adapt and change your worldview at a moment's notice.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Knowing what I know, honestly, the advice that I would give to my 20-year-old self would be to chill the hell out. The older you get, the more you realize that everybody's just making it up and winging it anyway. No, but even though people might seem like they really have their shits together, everybody's just improvising and just, assuming that what they're doing right now is probably the best thing, and nobody really knows.
I love it. Well, what is the most successful change work related result you've experienced on yourself?
It might not seem like a big thing to other people, but it was a big one for me. I was someone who was very into thinking about things, like figuring things out in advance, and I did lots of reading and all that kind of stuff. And very beginning of my NLP practitioner was my first training with my mentor. I realized that this was messing with my ability to learn, and I stuck my hand up and I mentioned this to my mentor, the very recently late Roger Dina. And he talked for about 5 minutes, and all I can remember of it is the very beginning and the end. He said, if I can do this with some artistry. And then there was this blank period of a few minutes. And then the next thing that I heard was the last hour of the last day of this course. And I have no idea what he said in between, but ever since then, I rarely read books. I don't try and figure things out in advance. I just get my hands in, get stuck in and just do stuff and experiment. And that's just the way that I am now.
Most important belief for a change worker to have?
There's always a way, and all you need to do is find it.
And what do you believe is the biggest misconception people have about the work you do?
Well, given that I'm a trainer, it's mostly to do with learning, and a lot of people have this idea that skills are things that can be magically imparted to you, and that's just not the case. Attitude can, perspectives, beliefs, different ways of thinking can, but skill, you have to do shit, right? Like you have to do the work. You got to put in the work to develop skills.
Time. Thank you, James. And to hear a bigger, fuller, more in-depth interview with all things James Tsakalos, along with detailed interviews with other leading therapists and agents of change, simply visit www.rapidchange.works.